Hey guys, we're back in the workshop and today's Saturday, so the 6th day of a week with Knifemaker. Today wasn't as glorious as I hoped it's going to be, but today we are going to finish all the knives, we're going to finish the kydex sheaths, and we're going to sharpen some knives. We have 6 o'clock now, so we have plenty of time today to make some knives, so let's get to it. So yesterday we have pressed the kydex around the knives, and today we gotta drill the holes out and put later in some rivets and cut the kydex and bring it in shape. And now for the hole spacing, I'm actually using a malice clip. This is actually a MOLLE mounting option, but that doesn't matter. What matters is just the hole placement, because it's just the same as, for example, Tech Locks and other stuffs from Blade Tech. They're a really good company and I recommend them. So I do the hole spacing for Tech Locks actually, and you can also mount Scout carry straps and all that other stuff. But the hole placement is really nice and looks also really good. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing this part here near the sharpening choil, so near the end of the knife, and then I just draw in some lines right here, and then I also take this first hole and the last hole, and then I know, alright, I have to place these holes right here. Then I lengthen those points so I have a rough reference, and I take a ruler and I try to make it straight so parallel to the edge, so the knife doesn't hang on your belt like that or like that. So you want to have it straight on your belt in the end. So just measuring out, and you don't want to go too far out with your eyelets. So you want to get quite close, but not too close to your knife. And then I'm just drawing a line just like that, and then I connect these points here just like that, and now we have the holes actually marked out. Now what I'm doing is I'm having this G10 board actually here, which is quite handy because I have uplifting right here, and I can place the knife on my table and the kydex is resting on the G10 board, and I'm using a punch, and then I'm just going to punch these holes actually. And you want to be quite careful with that, because you want to have those eyelets all in one line, so you don't want to have them like walking around somewhere there. And yeah, that's just how I mark out my kydex sheath, and it's pretty simple and easy. So we're using 4 eyelets, some people doing it all around. It's in the end just a thing of looks and how it will function, but I think these 3 holes are plenty enough to hold the knife in the kydex sheath. So let's mark out all the other knives and then start drilling those kydex sheaths.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare, 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me, hold your hand while the pain was over, keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Alright, so now the holes are drilled, as you can see, and we're doing now 3 things before we take out the knife out of his pocket. I'm taking a countersink and I'm just deburring now by hand all the holes we have drilled. That's just so the eyelets can pop in there later and sit flush in the end. And then what you're going to see is I'm going to put on some tape on these knives where I have like a couple of them with the same handle color. So for example, I have like 3 of these knives. They look all the same, so but still the handle scales are all a little bit different, so they won't fit in the other sheaths, or they could fit, but they won't fit perfectly into the other sheath because they're all custom fitted. So therefore I'm going to put on some tape onto these sheaths, and then I'm just going to write on some numbers, so 1, 2 and 3, so you can separate them and know which one is which one. And you also want to write it onto the knife and also on the sheath. So for example, this one is knife 1, so I'm going to write it on the sheath with some tape. I'm also going to write it on the blade. Good thing is we have also some tape on the knife, so we can just write it on the tape of the knife. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some eyelets, and I'm just going to pop them in just like that. You don't have to put all the eyelets in, and we're not, be careful with that, we are not going to press them in now, because otherwise you couldn't get your knife out. So it happened to me, so don't make that mistake. Learn from my mistakes. But what that's going to show us is where the eyelids are ending, and then we can just scribe us some new lines where we are going to cut with the bandsaw, so we have some reference and where to grind to, because we don't want to have it too far out, or we don't want to grind too close to the eyelids in the end. So I'm just putting them in. You will see it in the video how I'm going to do that. Just as a little tip what I'm doing, and then I'm going to pop out the eyelets, taking out the knife, and one of the last steps is to put in the eyelets. That makes just the work on the Kydex much easier, also the cleaning up of the inside of the Kydex, because there's going to be a lot of Kydex dust in it. So if you would put them in now, it would be really hard to clean up the inside of the Kydex. Even though you could blow it out with compressed air, there's still some grime and debris in the sheaths. So I'm always putting the eyelids in at one of the latest steps. Alright, so now the edges are clean on this sheath. As you can see, this gap will close when we put in the eyelet, and after that we are going to fit in the knife to the sheath with the heat gun, because as you can see here, the Kydex is really pressed in here, and we have to open that a little bit with the heat gun. And I just wanted to show you the comparison to unfinished sheath. So this one is off the grinder and it still has like really rough edges, and now you can see the finished sheath, much cleaner. So yeah, we're going to finish all these sheaths now, and then we're going to press the eyelids, and then we are going to custom fit the knife into the sheath. So all the sheaths are done now, and now we just have to oil the knife handles. Alright, so all the sheaths have been finished, and now we have to oil up the handles, clean up the blades. These knives here will get all Cerakoted and laser engraved, and these knives already have the acid stonewash, so these knives we can totally finish today and sharpen, and we can also assemble them with the right screws. They still have those assembly screws in, as you can see here. Some are marked up and scratched, so now we're going to put in some fresh screws, some new screws into these, and we're also going to oil up the handles to give them a little bit more shine and just make the colors a little bit more popping, and then we're going to clean up everything, and the knives are done. So the knives are all sharpened up. I'm pretty happy with them. Now what we got to do is we have to clean up the scales, clean up the knives, free them from the tape, and then we're going to assemble them. Before that, we're going to also oil the handles and underneath the steel as well. And then we are going to use some Loctite for the screws. I'm just using the blue Loctite, so you can get those screws loose again without a problem, but they will stay in place, which is really important because you don't want to lose a screw while you're on a trip or so. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we're pretty much finished with everything. Alright, so we are done for today. We have finished 11 knives, kind of, so 3 of the knives are done, ready for selling. The other knives still need their coating and sharpening, but the major parts are done. So the cutting sheaths are done, the handle scales are done, so everything else is basically done. I'm really happy with that. I've already prepped some knives for next week, which I have to glue up. And I will also start with a new big project next week. That's going to take a long time. Also some Cerakoting and some cool Kydex sheaths, but you're going to see that on Instagram. So guys, I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, ask them down below. If you want to see some more content or finished knives, you can also check out my Instagram. It's all linked down below, also my website. So again, this was a really cool week. Yesterday wasn't that fun, but still I got back, I edited the videos. I'm really happy that I made the whole week possible to film and to show you how a week with a Knifemaker looks like. And that's roughly a week with me. Sometimes stuff changes, but that is a typical week for me, and how it looks, what I do. And it was a really cool project, and yeah, I will probably do some more videos. This just animated me to make some cool videos. I have some cool ideas. I hope I can do one video a week, because video editing and shooting the video takes a lot of time, especially here, because there are also other guys, you know, in this big hall, because it's not just me here. There are also other guys, and they have a crane and they're just moving stuff around. Sometimes someone uses an angle grinder, and there's always noises. So maybe I can put everything down, so my normal work is like from Monday to Friday, and Saturday I can shoot some videos. That would be super cool, because Saturday there's not that much of noise here. So hopefully I can do that. I have already some cool ideas, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see us in the next video, I think.